So this is the bike that MotoGP have let me kindly take as my next long-term, what do we call it, like well, it's a press bike, but it's a long-term one, so I've got it for a while. Now, it is of course SYM's Maxsym TL508. Got to remember the name, Maxsym. I've just been calling it the Maxsym. But anyway, it's a Maxsym TL508. Now, this bike is an absolute monster. It is just how you would expect a Maxi scooter to be. It's huge, but it has all of the bonuses of a scooter. It's easy to ride, it's rev and go, there's no gears, all of that stuff. But I've got my cheat sheet here. There is a lot to talk about on this bike, including specs, price, everything. So we'll go around the bike the usual way. I'll show you it in all its glory. Excuse the fact I've already got it dirty because I have been on the initial ride. I'll let you see some of that as well as we're going. But yeah, let's just have a look round it first, and then I'll drop some facts and figures as we're going. It's a scooter with a whopper of an engine. It's not just a clever name. The 508 does actually mean it's got 508 cc's. Now, it is a twin cylinder, it's liquid cooled, 8 valves. It delivers 46 horsepower. Now, 46 horsepower out of a scooter is fairly impressive. Let me just refer to my cheat sheet because I don't want to miss anything. At 6,750 RPM, it also gives, that's in new money, I don't like talking kilowatts, all this electric stuff does my head in, but it's 33.5 kilowatts and 50 newton meters of torque as well. I've ridden it already. Spoiler alert, as you'd expect from a 508cc scooter. It does shift, this bike. Nice tall adjustable windscreen, 2 different settings for that. Headlights at the front, it's got full LEDs front and rear. I'll show you the rear when we get round there. Typical scooter fashion as well, it does have a side stand and it does have centre stand as well. Just a single shock on the rear, but I can confirm already it is comfortable. You'll have to stay for the ride to just see how comfortable. A chain drive as well, which I think is quite rare for a scooter because generally scooters are belt drives. I know, well, the bulk of them are, and you can see, look at the size and that chunky tyre. That's not a normal scooter tyre. Does come with some nice alloy wheels. Size of the wheels exactly the same front and rear, 15 inches, and you can see it has got a disc brake at the rear, some excellent stopping power at the front. So we've got 4 piston calipers at the front across the double-sided discs, and they are 270 millimeters. Yes, this does come with all the safety equipment. It has got ABS. This dual pipe exhaust, it delivers quite a good soundtrack. In fact, a very good soundtrack. You cannot compare this to your conventional scooter. It's a beast. It does have upside down forks, but you can't really see on a scooter because it's hidden by all of this fairing. There is no step through as such, but you can see where it does lower quite a lot at the front, so you don't have to throw your leg over the usual way. You can do it by just putting your leg forwards and going that way. I'll show you. So conventional way, of course, is to throw your leg over that way. You can still do it that way if you wanted to. It's not particularly high seat. It's 795 millimeters, so it's not a short seat by any stretch, but it is doable the conventional way. However, if you are struggling, I'm all right actually. I can throw my leg over quite easily going over that way, but I wanted to show you the ease of getting on a different way. Because it is slightly lower at the front, it's easy just to go like that and sit on, and then you are on. Now, I'm on my tiptoes where I'm sat at the minute. You can sit right at the edge of the seat, in which case you're going to get flat foot, or if you are much taller. You can sit further back, in which case you're on proper tippy toes, or I am, but I'm only 5'8". One thing I'm a really big fan of with all scooters, to be fair, or certainly the modern ones like this, where you've got a couple of different places to put your feet, you can have your feet just like this. So it's the equivalent of a motorcycle maybe having your pegs just slightly further forward than central, but it does make for a comfortable position. And as I found yesterday when I took this on a bit of a ride, as soon as you get on the faster roads, it is so nice to stretch your leg out and go into the cruiser position, putting your leg right out the front. In fact, that's probably my favourite. I would say definitely that's my favourite position to ride, because when you're riding on the motorway, it's just bliss. You've got your back up straight, you've got your legs stretched out, you just feel so stable when you're doing high speeds on it. It is just lovely. But it is nice that you've got a couple of different options to put your feet and stretch your legs out, and that for me is what makes scooters better for every person, regardless of height. Somebody who's really tall would be able to ride this bike and be really comfortable. Somebody, I would say slightly shorter than myself, at 5'8", I'm fairly small. I'm on my tiptoes. I don't feel like it's too tall, but if you are a lot smaller and you're thinking of something like this, then you would have to go and sit on it first, try it out, see how it fits you, because yeah, it is much bigger than what I would call the conventional smaller scooters, the 125cc's, etc. This is much bigger. And again, very easy to get off. Only thing you've got to watch is well, it's all plastic here. So if you're going to get on and off like I've just done there, you've got to make sure that you're not kicking this plastic, because I'm sure it will mark over time. Now, I haven't kicked it. This isn't my bike. I don't want to damage it, but it's just something to bear in mind if you're going to get on that way. Completely keyless. So as long as you've got your key fob with you, and I'll show you the key fob that they've given me. It does have a button there for the alarm. It's very nice. Good to have a bit of security. Also, I do like that this was prepared for me with a nice little tag. Gilly's Ride. Yes, it is. So what we've got here is this little switch. So when you press the switch, if you've got the key on you, it comes alive. You turn it that way and you get all of your ignition on. If you turn it the other way, it will open your access to the fuel cap. Good thing I like with this is once that does open, you don't need a key to open your petrol tank, so you don't have to mess about taking keys or fobs out your pocket, which is very good. This button opens the seat. Press that to unlock the seat. Now the best thing, look at the size of this. Now I don't think the camera will do this justice. However, what I will do, demonstrate for you. My hand, my elbow doesn't even reach the bottom. Oh, actually, I can get my elbow right at the bottom, but it's a massive space. Now, when I was out riding yesterday, if you've seen my setup, I've got a big head, I'll be honest, and I've got an extra large helmet. Now, my helmet, with the camera attached to it, with my comms attached to it, goes in backwards and still has all of this space here free, and I can put that in and shut this seat with absolutely no issues. I should imagine if you've got two smaller helmets, they will probably fit in there, but my big helmet with all my attachments goes in with no trouble at all, and very much like a car. Look at the state. It's even got a little light in here to light up, so if you weren't putting your helmet in, you could get quite a bit of shopping in there. I might actually take this to the shops and do a bit of testing for that. But yeah, very impressed, very practical. what I like about this seat is you can see just how plush it is. Now this for me is the perfect blend of kind of, it's not too hard, it's not too soft. It's just a really nice comfortable place. It's quite a nice wide seat, and I think that's why it makes it seem to be a little bit taller than the 795mm seat height would suggest. But it makes for a comfortable ride. I like also how you've got this lumbar support as well at the back. I've not had anyone on the back, however you can see there is also a huge rear seat for a rear pillion, and you've got these monster grab handles as well, so it would be a really comfortable place for a pillion to go on the back. Any standard motorbike peg. There are a couple of extra storage places as well. It's not a lot, it isn't a lot. You've got a little space there, you maybe get, I don't know, bag of change or something. It's not a lot going on in there. Opposite side one, again, you haven't got, oh actually, tell a lie on that one. This one seems to go back quite a lot. I've got my hand fully outstretched there, so that is actually quite a deep pocket. I like that one, and with the bonus of that, it means your phone will just slide in. You've also got USB in there as well, so I like that. That is very good actually. Nice and secure for your phone to go in there while you're riding, get it charged on the way. Now this for me is where this is just a cut above any other scooter that I've ever tried, and I've been on a couple of really like Gucci ones, but this is just pretty impressive. So what we've got is a 4.5-inch TFT screen. It's been split up into 3 different sections. It is full colour, as you can see. Your right hand side, you've got the total miles, nice big speedo, and there is a fuel gauge there as well. This screen is where the magic happens for me. So you can scroll through and you've got a few different options. So you can see there is a clock at the top. You've got the rev counter going round as well. You've got your miles per gallon. That comes kind of on the move, so that's constantly changing as you're riding, and you can see how efficient you're riding. I do like that. It kind of makes you ease off a bit on the throttle to try and save those pennies. You can go through the screen here. Oh, bear in mind, the clock is the wrong time. It's not 3:37 AM. No, I was definitely in bed then. You can move it to have like an old school but digital speedo on there as well. It does keep the same miles per gallon there, but you can use that as a speedo. I don't know why you'd want to, because you've got a digital speedo there, but you know, if you fancied it something different, you can turn it into just a big old clock as well. And then you can have this one. Now I like this one for riding, because what you've got is there is a speedo there, but it also tells you, it's like a trip computer every time you go out. So if you go out doing a long ride, it'll tell you how far you've gone. It will tell you how long you've been riding for, and it gives you your maximum RPM as well as you're going out. So it's just a nice little thing to just have on screen, I think, because you don't need another speedo, and I don't need a big clock either. Yeah, so that's going through all of them, but I just think it's a nice little screen. You can scroll either way, you don't have to go all the way back. You can go forwards and backwards by using this little menu thing here. It does it all. But I like that. And then on the left hand side, you do just have your normal warning lights that come up. Now I've not started the bike, so of course these all come on, and they will go off as soon as the engine starts and you're rolling. But you can see it does have your traction control and your ABS. Safety first. Buttons on this, so it looks like we can turn our traction control off. Not that I'd want to in these horrible winter conditions, but you've got a horn, you've got your indicators, there's a high and low beam, you've got the up and down menu as I've already showed you, and there is a pass button as well, so a little flash up front. Right hand side, you've got your engine start, you've got hazard lights, and there is a cut-off switch as well. So kind of like a motorbike setup as far as the buttons go. It's not like a scooter, and you don't feel like you're on a scooter. When you sat on it, it feels more like a miniature Honda Goldwing or something like that, because you've got this big plush seat and you've got the nice display in front of you and the big tall screen. Now, this has been billed by SYM as being the long-range touring machine, and I can believe it. I've been out, I've already done a couple of 100 miles on it, I'm going to be completely honest, because from my initial ride I've been out on it again, and yeah, this is the first time I've got to actually have a proper walk around the bike. But I have done quite a lot of miles on it already, and it's so unbelievably comfortable. I'll show you a bit of the ride, I'll show you how I got on when I picked the bike up and what the initial impressions were. I'm filming it back to front, so you'd have already seen the walk round of this bike. However, this is literally first time seeing it. That's what I'm getting at. So I've just dropped off the TRK, the 502X, that's over there, and this is the SYM. Now, it's a scooter, but it's not an ordinary scooter. It is the Maxsym TL508. Does look big, but it also looks much lower than the TRK. So just same drill really. I didn't want to do the, oh, this is me riding a bike that I've ridden for a few days, because as I've found with Benelli's TRK, the initial ride was completely different to my final thoughts ride, just purely because the more time I spent with it. I want to do an initial ride on this as well. I just want to see what this is like in comparison to the other big scooters I've been on, and the big scooters I've been on, which there are many, but they tend to be like 300 cc's. Ooh, it feels wide. I'm going to give it that. It feels really wide. And this is what I like actually, when you first get on a bike, you get to discover things. Like, I've not asked for the guys to go through any of the controls, I've not asked for any information other than what the bike is, because I like to find that out myself. I like to discover what everything does. You know, you have a rough idea of things it's got on it. Let's see what it's like on the move. I've said countless times with scooters, the 300cc scooters, for me, I absolutely love them. I do. I really like them. I like that they are so quick, and yet they've still got the scooter size. Now this feels like a big scooter. It feels like a touring bike, if I'm completely honest with you. It feels really big. Not quite Goldwing big, but it does feel like a big bike. It just has the ease of a scooter with its rev and go. No gears. I like how you've got different positions for your feet as well. I love that it's got a big windscreen, so I'm definitely going to take this to work and do some motorway journeys. I might even take it on a proper journey as well. If the weather stays nice, I might have a trip to the lakes on this bad boy, see what it's like for a long ride on the motorway. Well, I don't need to wait for a big gap, that is for damn sure. This bike, you can feel the pickup with the slightest movement, and I'm talking millimeters. You move that throttle a tiny amount and it's going. And that's what you want, that's what I want. Now this is probably the closest thing that I've ridden to the Suzuki Bergman, the bike that started my appreciation for scooters, but it feels bigger than the Bergman. Now I went on the 400 version, and that was a couple of years ago now, but this does feel just bigger. It feels a bit plusher as well, and does seem to be just a bit more flash, dare I say it. I mean, I'm a big fan of SYM. I've said that many a time on the channel as well. But that has always been the small SYMs, the 125ccs, the 50ccs. I just really like what they've done with those, but this is a whole different animal. I'm looking forward to a little bit of a blast down a faster road. The bike itself just feels like the size of a motorcycle. Quite a big motorcycle. It doesn't feel like a scooter, whereas scooters I'd be going probably right to the front of the queue. Well, I can't do that here because the size of this bike now, I'm not fitting through that gap in front of me. It looks like there's lots of stuff to play with, so I'm going to enjoy spending some time with this and playing with all the different buttons that are on here. Brake test. The brakes are nice and sharp as well. It doesn't hang about when you twist that throttle. Give it a little blast up here just to see what it was like. Wow. And at 70 miles an hour, I'm not feeling the wind. Still here is completely just clean. There's no there's no breeze, there's nothing coming at all there. It's just comfortable. Certainly quick enough. So far, the initial impressions, and I've said initial impressions 50 times now, but so far it's all very, very positive. I've got to say, it's really, really, really impressive. However, and there is a big however on this, these brand new, so the retail price of these, £9,499. Now, if you were drinking at that moment in time, there's a very good chance that you've just spat all of your drink all over the place, because I did when they told me the price of this, because that's an expensive bike in my eyes. That's, you know, when you look at all the other bikes you can get for that price, that is expensive. Now, I will add something to this, and that is that these bikes at the minute are being heavily discounted. So there's as near as, damn it, £2,000 off. So they are currently reduced to £7,699. Now, that's still not cheap. However, if you compare it to the bikes that it's comparable to, so you're looking at Suzuki's Bergman, the bigger engine Bergman, you're looking at the Yamahas, you're looking at the big scooters that it's comparable to, I think it actually then makes sense as being quite a reasonably priced Maxi scooter. Now again, I'm not going to say it's cheap, because even at £7,699 it isn't a cheap bike. However, if you look at the potential for this, with its practicalities, with the storage here, the little storage there for charging things, it's a big bike. This bike could literally, you could do a full tour on this bike, and I found that out yesterday when I did a really long ride, is that it's comfortable for all day riding, and it's quite fuel efficient as well. It's not got a clutch, so you're not having to do the gear changes in traffic. You're not constantly going up down the gears. It just makes for a beautiful ride all day long. So is it going to be worth it at £7,500 or just over? I would have to say yes, because my ride yesterday, I was really impressed. In fact, I was very impressed with how comfortable it was. I am going to finish off on this with some fairly big news, which the guys at Into Moto made me aware of after I picked this bike up, which is, after I finish with this bike, when it goes back Into Moto would generally return it to MotoGP for me. However, not the case with this one, because they're going to be selling it. Now, they've not given me a price yet, but if the new one is £7,699, this one is going to be much cheaper than that. So as soon as they let me know a price, I will let you guys know if you're interested. I've had bikes that have been more expensive that haven't felt as comfortable and as planted for motorway riding as this thing does. Anyway, that's going to do me for now. Hit subscribe It doesn't cost you a penny, but it means the absolute world to me. It really does. It helps the channel grow, keeps MotoGB letting me borrow these things. So without you guys, it wouldn't happen. So I do appreciate you. And the ones who haven't subscribed, I'd love to appreciate you too. So yeah, hit the subscribe button and yeah, we can keep this show going, can't we? Anyway, for now, that's going to do me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Laters.